Hello everybody, welcome to another one of my videos. This is XFSteff here, and today I actually thought about doing some extra work on Squadron Tower Defense, the StarCraft 2 custom map, for those of you who do not know it. For those of you who do and are watching this because you want to, today I will talk about the amount of bounty that you can get from each wave and the total amount of bounty that you get from killing the waves in Squadron Tower Defense. Now, in my last videos I actually focused on doing some echo builds. Basically, the main point of the videos were that you should build a certain amount of workers in relation to the number of upgrades that you have, as I am showing you right now in this graph, in this worksheet. The technicalities of how this build should be best done weren't discussed, as I have mentioned that it's probably just easier for you to figure out yourselves how you want to go on an eco build. Now there are a lot of more possibilities to do that, and that is why I have created this handy little list of all of the waves, the types of damage that the waves are doing, and the types of damage that they are taking more, and of course how many individuals there are, and then how much bounty you can get per individual, and the total if you don't leak anything. This should be quite handy for people that are trying to play either defensive or hybrid styles, as for an eco player that won't matter anymore that much anyway. Good. So as you can see here, there are a lot of types of colors. Basically I have color coded each type of monster and its damage to himself and what does most damage to himself, so to say. So basically the unarmed the unarmed type of monsters, they take 100% or 90%, I think. Actually 100, I'm not sure. They take the same amount of damage from any type of attack. These three that you find at waves 1, 2, and the repeating wave 31, the end game repeating wave 31. Now, of course, also with black is the chaos damage, which is the same thing, does 100% damage to every type of armor. So that is why I linked these two together, because basically you take everything and you do everything as chaos and unarmed. Now the second type of armor would be the light armor, which does take more damage from piercing. So this should actually help some of you guys out there which are trying to find out why are you leaking although you have a lot of towers, or although your towers are upgraded. For example, if you're going for this round right here, in which the monsters are light armored and do piercing damage, well, it's pretty safe to assume that if you don't have a strong enough melee force to keep them away from your piercing damage units that are usually also light, then you will most probably lose the wave, so to say, or start leaking. Good. The next type is massive and magic, which massive does take more damage from magic, but magic also does a bit more damage to light. So yeah, magic is also good against light. So that is why, from what you can see here, yellow and orange, these two colors are predominant, I might say, and I think they account for almost 50%. I didn't even do the math, but I think almost half of the monsters either are light or massive or do piercing or magic damage. So that is why it is a good idea for you to have some units to counter light and massive units. Basically, magic damage dealing units should be the best ones. Next ones in our little case here are the the mechanical units that do siege damage. Now this is quite interesting because siege damage does do damage, more damage to mechanical. So yeah, it's quite funny because there are actually 3 waves that are mech and siege at the same time, and one of them is pretty annoying. The red marked waves are a bit stronger, a bit something to worry about, at least what I found in my games. Anyway, let's just get back. I'll talk about that a bit later. So the next ones are the mech and siege, and these usually can be quite threatening if you actually have nothing that does at least a decent amount of damage against mechanical units, like normal damage. Normal damage does 90% damage to mechanical, while magic only does 70 and piercing only 60, I think. I'm not sure. I actually forgot right now. But the main point is that you need to have at least a couple of normal damage dealing units, or one siege damage dealing unit for wave 6, or else you'll be in a bit of trouble. Okay, and of course the last type of armor, which is also quite well, it doesn't come as often as light or massive, but armored units also come quite often, and they are a bit not immune. They take more damage from the normal types of damage, precisely 120%. You should always have some melee units or some units that do normal damage, because as you may see, you also get quite a load of armored units as well in your waves. Good, so I've talked about that much. Now let me just talk really quickly about what I think are the 4 most annoying rounds. The number 1 most annoying round is round 14. There are a lot of people who lose at round 14 because that's the immortal round, when a lot of, I think there are only 6 or 8. No, there are 8 immortals, but if you couple them, if on the other side there's a good eco player that has enough resources for him to actually send you a Zergling, or what's the name of that guy? No, not a fat Zergling. Anyway, the guy that gives lifesteal aura to melee units, then you'll be in trouble. Or also a power mortal or some tanks can also cause quite a lot of trouble, because of the fact that there will be too many armored units, and the immortals have quite a lot of HP, and they go down pretty slowly. So always take care, try to focus on improving your towers before round 14. Another and the second annoying round is round 10, in my opinion at least. There are a lot of games that also end on round 10 because of people not caring. They think that it's just one infestor, it's light, but the thing is that he does chaos damage, which means the same amount of damage to all of your units. So yeah, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble really fast if you don't prepare and make some piercing or magic damage dealing towers. The third most annoying, in my opinion at least, is the 17th round, when it's again this problem with siege, mech and siege, and if you don't have a lot of good normal and siege damage dealing units, then you'll be wishing that, I don't know, you never got this far, because usually a lot of games end up how do you say this? Yeah, they just end up finishing at the wave 17 mark. Another one that is annoying is the wave 20 with the fatty, which also does chaos damage and is also quite annoying. The thing about this one is that if your opponents are also saving up for a couple of tours or some other units that are giving auras and bonuses, like the Dark Templar or the High Templar, or I don't know, some of these guys, the Queen maybe, the Zergling, the fat Zergling, or what's his name, then you'll also be in lots of trouble. So make sure you take care about this one. Now, afterwards, after round 20, pretty much it's kind of chaotical. What is quite annoying is, I think, rounds 22 and 24, maybe, and also round 28, I think, is a bit more annoying. But you just basically have to take care about everything. Good. So I've covered a bit about the rounds, and this should be quite helpful for, especially for beginning players, for noobs that actually don't know what types of damage there are and what types of armor there are. Now let's just go and check out a bit the bounties. Now I haven't actually written down the total amount of bounties that... Oops, sorry. Oh, come on, come back. I haven't actually written down the amount of bounties that you get with the no leak bonus, but it's safe to assume that it's somewhere around 20. What's the the no leak bonus? Wait 1 second. No leak is 4 plus the wave number, or 3 plus the wave number. But no leak isn't that important, considering the fact that well, yeah, it's almost impossible to get every wave without leaking. Maybe in a game in which 4 players go heavy hybrid and defend, and each 2 pairs of players defend 2 lanes at a time. Maybe that would be the only option for a no leak game. But if obviously if somebody goes echo, then you'll be leaking for at least, I don't know, 17 rounds, something like that, or maybe even more actually. And if somebody also goes defensive, as you will see right now, he will also be leaking. There's almost nothing that you can do about it, except maybe trying to defend 2 lanes, when maybe if you're good enough you'll actually do it. Now the wave bonus, the wave income, I've actually failed to write about that one, but that isn't also that big. I can assume it's somewhere around, I don't know, I think it's 20 each wave. I really don't know actually, but it's somewhere around 600 or 500 minerals. Okay, so you start off the game, you have 100 minerals, and basically what I like to have as a rule of thumb, especially if you have a good mixture of units and you know what's coming and you are prepared for each new wave, then the best idea is to actually have the wave number multiplied by 100 in minerals up until wave 20, because up until wave 20 it's okay if you have like 2000 minerals worth of towers, but afterwards you really should be going a lot up, just a lot up than that. You should have a lot more towers than that. For example, if you get to wave 31 and you have somewhere around 6,000 or 6.5k, which is double obviously. If you have 6.5k towers, if you are alone, I've actually tested this with the elemental builder, and with trying to make, I think I had like 3 missiles and 5 or 6 phoenix. With that amount of army, then you will only be able to almost defeat 2 waves of level 31 income, and that is with no other units sent by your enemies. That's just single player. So you obviously want to be at wave 31 around the 10k mark, so that you give your team a good enough chance. As I've talked in my previous videos, if you go a strong eco build and your team hangs on in the game, then you'll probably as an eco player have somewhere around 24k defensive tower value, which should give you a lot of time, at least 2 or 3 rounds extra waves after 31. Good. Now coming back to the bounties, you get 100 minerals at the start, so you can obviously think that you'll always have for one wave something around this sum plus 100. It also depends around how much you put into your economy as a hybrid player. Now this is where it becomes tricky, because you know, obviously if you start the game off with the, I don't know, with maybe a violet, you go with a violet up until wave 6, which a violet only costs 230 minerals. You obviously have already 200 extra minerals, so with those you could actually, I don't know, get maybe 2 extra workers and the first speed upgrade, which will get you a cool 1.11 gas per second income. Now, assuming that each wave actually takes around 90 seconds, so on average, because you have a 40-second waiting period, and then I think it's the same. The battles usually take around the same amount of time. That means that you'll have somewhere around 90 minerals gas every second to spend, every wave to spend around the wave 5 and 6. 90 gas every second. Let's just round it off at 100. Well, 100 gas is actually how much income? That's 5 income if you send a Muralisk, or I don't know, units that actually give you 1 income per 20 gas. So the problem with this build is not this build. The problem with going hybrid is that you always need to synchronize both your economy and your tower defenses, and the types of damage that your tower defenses do with the incoming wave. For example, you might not want after wave 9 to make another worker and get to about, I don't know, 5 workers or something like that as a hybrid. You might actually want to make another light damage dealing unit or another melee unit that will keep this infestor away from your pierce damage dealing or magic damage dealing units in the back, and so on and so forth. So coming again to the bounties, basically if your opponents are either 3 hybrids or 4 hybrids, or 2 hybrids 1 eco, or 1 hybrid 1 eco, I don't know, or maybe 2 defensive 2 eco. I've also seen that cookie build, but it never ends up well. Trust me, don't try it. So if your opponents are around those types of people, they will usually send you, I don't know, around wave 6. They could probably send you somewhere around, so between 200 and 400 gas worth of units, which translated into income is, I don't know, it's actually, yeah, it's 5, it's actually from between 10 and 20, but you also have to divide that through 4 or 3, how many people you are on your side, and then you will actually understand how much bounty you can get, for example, at wave 6. If we take, for example, they send you 300 and you're 3 players, they send you 300 gas worth of units. That's actually 15 income, and if you're 3 players, then that means another 5 minerals for you. That number obviously keeps growing and growing as the game goes on and on, especially after wave 20, when a lot of tours start appearing, especially if your enemies are, I don't know, 3 or 4 hybrids, or 1 or 2 hybrids and 1 eco player. That means that you will be getting, wow, I don't know, somewhere around 4 to 8, no, actually somewhere between 3 and 5 tours, which is between 90 and 150 minerals. So you obviously need to think about this as well. The best idea to do as you're playing eco is actually to do not eco, sorry, as you're playing a hybrid, is actually to have almost the same amount of minerals multiplied by 10, or I don't know, by 100 if it's under. yeah, if it's under 10 then by 100, but if it's at wave 10 then by 10 multiplied by 10. So you should have around 1k defenses at round 10, and always just make so until wave 14 or something you should always be making, I don't know, maybe if you have a wave income of 50, then you should be making 2 workers. But afterwards, after waves 15, 16, the rounds get a lot more harder. So you should only be doing, you should only be putting down the same amount of workers that your wave income actually give you. And that said, I don't know, maybe if you're at wave 14 and actually no, that's pretty high. Well, if you're at wave 20 and you have around 100 income, then you should never put down more than 2 workers, 2 extra workers. It's not an exact science and it cannot be, and I also should be stopping now because I've actually done I'm actually been rambling for the past 20 minutes or so. Good. Main point is, if you're ever in doubt, just check out this video, check out this table right here, and you can not only see what's coming, but you'll also see the wave that will be coming afterwards. It's a good thing that they've actually put the mech units quite so farther apart as usually, because then you'll have enough money and time to make, you know, massive and light killing units, but also some normal damage dealing units that can handle both armored and the mech. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening. Post any ideas or questions that you have in the comments below, and maybe I'll come back with some additional information on this, you know, on these worksheets that I've done. So bye bye.